and welcome to Somos Mas, your source for New Mexico United, New Mexico Runners when they're in season, a little bit of basketball, and a very cute baby tonight, and
Very
also
cute.
Maggie.
You had to bring at least some beauty here. We don't have Seth
did.
to carry the
know.
show, so
Seth, and then as Shadow Wolf calls Earl, Chelsonen. We're severely lacking in that department tonight. But as you can tell, Seth and Earl are not with us. Seth is flying back from spending Mother's Day in Atlanta. Earl is MIA. He texted me later in the day, said he had something come up, wasn't going to make it. But luckily for us, our good buddy Harry Austin, the president of Team Jacob. So it's going to be a very Team Jacob heavy episode tonight. So if you're not Team Jacob, exactly. If you're not Team Jacob, then
might as well
you might just want to tune out.
Still just put it on silent, let it roll, so that way
get the clicks, get the plays, get the clicks,
gotta get the plays.
For sure.
We don't want to be fired on day one from Seth.
Melanie over in the chat on YouTube said Seth is safely in the air. So he is flying above. Maybe he might be right above you, Harry. He might be coming over San Antonio. I don't know what kind of path his plane is taking, but
safe travels.
The coolest SAFC supporter out there. We'll say semi SAFC supporter for the time being.
Still SAFC supporter.
Okay. All right.
Have issues with the game day environment with security and just other stuff behind the scenes that I think the club could do a whole lot better. Like if we had owners like New Mexico United, which I did tweet to SAFC. I was like, look, you can have flags and fan engagement.
Yeah.
No response. So, but that's a different show.
I have some clips coming up later that will show flag use and supporter engagement for sure. What a week, guys. What a week. We had the round of 32 for US Open Cup. We had week 10 of USL Championship. 2 wins for New Mexico United coming out of that. Not as lucky on the San Antonio side of things, but we might ask Harry about that shortly.
Let's pour some salt into that wound there. Why don't you?
Harry, you're pretty outspoken on the Twitter there, or the artist formerly known as Twitter there. How do you feel about the Open Cup? How have you liked this new format? Have you been able to keep up with it pretty good? Other than the San Antonio matches, what other matches have caught your eye? And just your overall general thoughts on this year's Open Cup and the Open Cup in general.
So I'm a huge Open Cup fan. I try to watch as many matches as I can. This past week, AJ had tryouts for club soccer, so I sat in the car and watched games through there. Used the data plan for that. I kind of like the format of 8 USL teams getting a little bit further. I don't like that MLS teams aren't all in. If I was the United States soccer president and I could choose something about the Open Cup, I would have all professional teams enter at the same time and a blind draw for that. But that's just me. To me, though, the match had to be Houston. Match of the round had to be Houston and Detroit City. That I text Red with 451 pod, right after San Antonio lost, and I was like, man, I'm so glad I didn't talk trash to you guys, because
could have got a little ugly there, huh?
Could have got a little bit ugly because they were down, and then they had the wonder goal right before the half, and it went to PKs, and then it's like, to me that one kind of surprised me. The other one, Loudoun traveled to Orange County and got a 2-1 win. That one shocked me.
And their reward is they get to come back to the West Coast and play LAFC, so that's going to be fun.
That was their quadrant that they got put into, kind of like New Mexico and Colorado, right? I think you guys were in the same one. Yeah. You go to New Mexico, or you go to New York City, right? Just like Colorado did.
No, Colorado hosted that first one.
No,
You sure?
Colorado lost at New York. They played in Belson Stadium in Queens.
Okay, I'll take your word for it.
Well, I'm looking at the page, so
Okay.
I know that for a fact.
Then I definitely take your word for it.
So, but no, and then obviously the Mexico match. As a San Antonio fan, it kind of hurt because there were three goals scored by former San Antonio players for that here. So with the Zico getting two, the first two off the batch, and then Nicky Hernandez, I believe he got the third one, right? If memory serves me correct.
No, he got the fourth. Nicky.
No, he got the third one. 45 plus 4, and then Reyes got the last one.
Did Reyes not play for y'all?
Yeah, Jacob Reyes got the fourth one in the 85th minute. So, but Zico opened the scoring in the 17th minute, and then got another one on the 19th minute. In the 19th minute for that here. But I do have a question here for you.
Yes.
The crowd that was there, I know it was a Wednesday game. According to the FOT mob, it says it was about 5,200. Were you a little bit shocked about, in my opinion, the low turnout for New Mexico?
Yes and no. It was a competition that most soccer fans just don't know about.
Hey, is your audio
I'm trying to
going good? Because it seems like it's staticky and dropping.
Yeah, I'm making some weird noises over here, so I've been working on that, trying to figure out what the heck's going on. Is that any better?
That's better, yeah.
Check.
That was a little bit worse.
A little bit worse. Cool. Awesome.
Your voice sounds a whole lot better now.
Okay, good. Good.
So I didn't catch the first two goals for that here. But to me, the reason why I asked that question is normally when there is a MLS team that comes in, and I believe this is the first time you guys have hosted an MLS team. And Real Salt Lake is a regional team of Four Corners team for that here. So New Mexico always turns out, I think what you guys had, 12,000 I think is what they announced on the weekend.
11.5, yeah.
But for the midweek, I won't lie, I was a little bit surprised that it just announced at 52. And I know in speaking with a lot of people around the league that it's hard to sell these games. Because there's about 2 weeks, 3 weeks notice along those lines here. But for me, with it being New Mexico's first match there, I was kind of a little bit surprised that it wasn't a little bit more. But that would be my only negative that I'd have from that. But to me, to be able to beat Diego Luna, anytime you can beat Diego Luna, it's always a positive in my book.
Yeah, 100%. But to the attendance, you kind of touched on it. These games are hard to sell. Only have 2 weeks kind of leading up to it. It is a regional MLS team. There's ties there with Devin Sandoval. I know several United supporters are also RSL fans, right. But I think it was just kind of the short run up. The weather Wednesday was kind of questionable to begin with. Josh brings up a good point. School night still. Yeah. I think a normal Wednesday match, we're bringing in like 8,000-9,000 for USL, but that includes all the season tickets already sold and everything like that. So it didn't really surprise me. It was still a rowdy atmosphere. It definitely felt like a few more than 5,000. They were packed down in certain little pockets. So it didn't really take away from the atmosphere like some other ones have. And so we have, I'm not
trying to dog on the crowd at all. Just to me, when it's the high expectations that you have when it comes to New Mexico, because New Mexico usually, to me, this will probably be their lowest crowd all season. I would wager.
Yeah, I think for sure, unless we end up hosting another Open Cup match,
I
midweek.
think it'll draw more though. If you're talking
Probably.
about now
'Cause
that
then it'll be the semifinals by that point, right?
because you're what 16, so
16, so it'll be the
so
quarterfinals,
round of
right?
quarterfinals at that
Quarterfinals are
point.
better.
And if New Mexico's hosting, number one, the cost of money to host goes up, is my understanding, or at least the old rules, or that it costs more to host those. I don't know. I know they've kind of tinkered with the rules this year. Um, and to me, I was looking at it here. You'd probably see either Phoenix, because we know how that magically happens,
Yeah.
or possibly FC Dallas. Would be the probably and that's if FC Dallas gets by Tampa.
Yeah.
Those would be kind of the two regionally-ish teams. If not, like I said here, you guys may be traveling, far. Maybe Seattle comes down, and then it's a little bit different depending on, LAFC, Loudon,
Right.
Sacramento, and San Jose, and Seattle's playing. Where are they playing?
They play Phoenix.
Yeah, so Phoenix. So, but to me, I could see, because I think how they'll match it up. Well, depending on who wins, if LAFC wins against Loudon, which I think 99% of the people would expect that, the winner, they'll probably get the winner of either Sacramento, San Jose, or Seattle Rising, and then depending on your guys' results, the only other mid-level teams would be Kansas City, Tulsa, Dallas, if they're able to get by. If not, it'll be traveling, or somebody will be traveling to you guys. That's not a regional team.
So obviously we've kind of touched on just about everything that happened in the match, but just to be clear, Zico Bailey scores literally 30 seconds of actual run of play goes off the clock between his two goals. Then we kind of get a little complacent. Fidel Barajas, from formerly of Charleston Battery, another USL product, gets Real Salt Lake's first goal on a play that I didn't notice it live, but watching it back, man, he looks offside. But with camera angles and stuff like that, I don't know. It's hard to say, but he looks like he's definitely behind the last defender. But nonetheless, Nicky Hernandez scores right before halftime to restore the 2-goal lead. Then it's kind of back and forth. Diego Luna gets a goal. We
And
were
it stays there till the end. Well, pretty
yeah
much till the end. It was a 3-2 match
until the 85th. Yeah.
Yeah.
One thing. So we decided that we were going to boo Quinton. Very tall guy. He got into a couple scrums early and decided every time he was going to touch the ball, we booed. I don't know why we didn't do that for Diego Luna, but I mean, and then he gets the goal, and that
You
just
can only boo him so many times, right?
yeah, I guess. But he wasn't with El Paso for very long, so maybe that had something to do with it. But he scores, brings them back within one. We're kind of back and forth. We get some pressure there at the end, and then a beautiful set piece. Nicky almost scores his second goal. It hits the woodwork, bounces right to Jacobo Reyes, who buries it. I've got a Reyes celebration here. We're gonna add. So 5,000 fans, it was still pretty loud there for sure. He scores that basically seals it in the 85th minute. And we move on. You already mentioned we move on. We play NYCFC II on Tuesday, a week from today, Tuesday, May 21st at, I believe, 5:30. Let me double check that. Yes, sir. And that will be for a chance to go to the quarterfinals, which is how far we made it back in 2019. And so it'll be a little different path. between now and that last year that year we went through 2 MLS teams to get to the round of 8 where we got slaughtered by Minnesota. We did have one brief moment of glory when Santi Moar scores the opener and goal, and we had hope for about 5 seconds, and then it quickly disappeared. But is this the year with only 8 MLS teams coming into this tournament? I believe 6 of them remain. Is this the year that we finally see a lower division team win it? You're muted.
Depends on matchups. Like, to me, the team I think that could win it is Sacramento. I just don't know for New Mexico. It all depends on the matchups and depends on who gets, because it's in balance. Like Charleston, Atlanta, I could see Charleston winning because it's at Patriots Point. New Mexico better win against the MLS Next Pro team.
Agreed.
Kansas City, Tulsa, and Kansas City. You'd have to assume Kansas City because Tulsa gives away big matches like this. Sacramento, San Jose. I would pick Sacramento over San Jose. LAFC, we've already touched base that they should beat Loudoun. Indy 11, Detroit City. Coin flip, but it's USL. USL. Rowdies and Dallas. I would go with Rowdies on that here, just on the form that Dallas is playing. But Dallas does have the pedigree if they play their starters. Or that they're coming off a big win over Austin FC through here. And then to me, the last match on Wednesday is Seattle hosting Phoenix, but it's at Starfire, which is a smaller stadium. It only seats about 5,000. Typically when Seattle plays there, they don't play their starters. Phoenix is kind of, to me, you don't know what you're going to get as of yet still. Are they the team that finished 6th in the West last year, or the team that won it? I don't know if they know what team they are as of yet. So to me, it comes to matchups, but like I could see Tampa getting through. I could see Sacramento getting through, but I don't see Indy. I don't see Detroit. I don't see Loudoun. I don't see Tulsa. Charleston, I'm not a big Charleston fan because my memory of Charleston is San Antonio blew them out last year 7-0, and that's hard to get that game out of my head. But they're a quality team.
I'm on the opposite end of that. We just lost to them 4-0, so I hold them very highly.
But to me, like it all depends on matchups, and more importantly, where those games are played.
Yeah. Because we don't know, other than the matchups that we're staring at right now for the round of 16, we don't know who's going to play who or where those matches are going to be going into the quarterfinals, semifinals, and finals. So that will for sure dictate a lot of how we feel about some USL or, heaven forbid, a MLS Next Pro team and their chances to take this title finally.
And I agree with you, Josh, about fuck Sacramento Republic. But if we're looking for a lower league team to win, number one, they were there 2 years ago? I think it was 2 years ago against Orlando City.
It was last year.
No,
it wasn't
last year. Houston won it last year. Houston won it last year. They were the year before.
Oh, it was. You're right.
So they have the pedigree, they have the depth, but to me, it comes down to if it's a Sacramento versus Los Angeles or versus Seattle, does Sacramento have to travel or does Sacramento get them, at home? Because let's be honest, playing at home is such a huge benefit for that here, because we know Sacramento would show up for those games, just like New Mexico. Instead of having to travel to Minnesota, if Minnesota would have had to travel, or let's say Sporting Kansas City has to travel to the Lab. Number one, I think you'll have a bigger crowd than 5,000 just because of the stakes.
Yeah.
And I know David Carl and the rest of the guys there would not that they don't bust their ass, but him and Ron would definitely be all over the media, all over everywhere, saying, "Hey, bring your friends, bring your brothers, bring your sisters. We've got to sell this out to, to get New Mexico United through." So to me, that's where it comes down to. But could it happen? Yes, and I won't lie. That's part of the reason why I was frustrated with San Antonio FC. Because earlier in the day they signed 5 academy kids, and I know a lot of it has to do with injuries, don't get me wrong, but when you sign 5 academy kids to your roster, that told me that, hey, we're gonna half-ass it, and if we get the early lead and hold, hey, we're good. But if we fall behind, it is what it is, and that's what it was. So, but
Yeah, it happens. I think some teams take it a little more seriously than others, even some of the lower level teams like USL Championship. But at the end of the day, one, just talking from a New Mexico United perspective, like, you didn't necessarily mention that we could win it. I'm not sure if we can or not either. But what I like about New Mexico United this year is, unlike 2019, we have the depth to compete in both of these competitions, where we're going to go for it in the Open Cup and we're going to try to make a deep run. But at the same time, you look at the USL Championship standings and we're sitting in second place, a point behind Sacramento with a match in hand. And we've been able to win matches in both competitions while getting squad rotation and not burning our guys out. And that is going to be huge. It'll be interesting to see. I'm not as familiar with Sacramento's depth or Charleston's depth. I know they're top.
Got a lot of depth. So
I know they're both top end talented. I don't think you can be top of the table right now without having at least some quality depth. But it'll be interesting to see what happens going forward as these USL teams can try to make a run. What happens to their league form as well. I for one, like, I know there's been drama about the Open Cup and the MLS this and all that, and I understand all that. It all kind of sucks. But this year's competition, for whatever, has been easier for me to follow. It's been more intriguing to me, some of the matchups that we've gotten and some of the different things they've kind of tweaked, like this 4-team pod that we just had. Like, obviously Colorado was in it, kind of expect that, but so was Real Salt Lake. And then you throw in this random MLS Next Pro New York team in there, and it's kind of like, okay, well, at least we're not playing Phoenix right now,
right?
Or El Paso never wins a match in the Open Cup, so that's why we never play them. But we're not facing these same teams that we've played the other 3 years that this competition has been going since we've joined the league. And so I've been into it, and maybe I've been into it a little more because it is kind of like, hey, fuck you guys, you're trying to kill it, and I'm going to do my part to make sure it doesn't die.
Well, I think I like the format, and it's one of those kind of catch-22s. I like having USL coming in, like the 8 playoff teams, or the top 4 in the East, top 4 in the West, because you get a little bit of reward, for the season. So I don't mind that here. It'll just be interesting to see what changes that they have going forward. But I think for this year, if I'm a USL Championship team, and especially still playing at this level, you're 3 matches away or 4 matches away from being able to play in CONCACAF Champions League.
Right.
And, the odds, depending on the draw on who you get, that would be a huge number one. There's a little bit more expense because you typically have to travel abroad.
And I was just going to bring that up. Like, do you think some teams, like, if Loudoun ends up winning this tournament somehow, do they bow out of that spot because they can't afford it, or do they do whatever it takes to make it work?
Loudoun's got money now. They got new owners.
That's true. I used Loudoun because it stuck out.
Tulsa would be the one that, this is no disrespect to Tulsa. But Tulsa's, to me, is the one where, as far as the wealthiness of the ownership group, through there. Well, let me ask you, New Mexico is not exactly corporate owner, along those lines. I know Peter's more wealthier than you and I'll ever be in our lifetime. Don't get me wrong, But when it comes to wealth among owners, New Mexico isn't known to being one of the wealthiest clubs, as far as ownership, if that makes sense.
I don't know. Like, I haven't dove into numbers. A lot of that stuff, you have to dig way too much for me to even try to find things. Yeah, and so I don't care enough to do that much legwork to try to figure this stuff out. What I will say about New Mexico ownership and front office, and then the team, and then everything else as far as the community as a whole here, I can't imagine them coming up with an excuse not to go
No,
when they've
you
been
would go.
when they've
Number
been
one, I think the
pushing this
league would
so
help
much.
out.
Right. Because it'd be huge, not just for us, but also for the USL Championship.
For the USL Championship.
And so for sure, it's honestly, winning it hasn't crossed my mind. I haven't let myself like think that far ahead, because I don't feel this way about this year's team, but previous year's teams, I would look at this NYFC II match and be like, we're gonna freaking choke that, aren't we? Now I don't feel that way this year because I just think we'll be okay there. We've got
to me, like I said here, because you're playing an MLS Next Pro team, that the thing that you'll have to kind of watch out for is loans coming down from New York City.
For sure.
And the reason why I say that is if a MLS 2 team wins this, that CONCACAF Champions League spot goes to the parent club.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So it's getting close now. There's rules where they've quote unquote put in to kind of make it harder to do. But it's still something that I think I think we're at that stage now where we'll have to kind of pay attention to what New York City does. And to be fair to New York City, they have a great academy system that,
they do,
to be fair. So it's not going to be an easy match, but it's not like you're going against LAFC or Sporting Kansas City along those lines where you could be possibly playing first teamers.
Right. And so, I mean, the Open Cup match was awesome. We get the win against an MLS team, our third victory over an MLS team in club history. You have a win against a famous rival of yours.
We beat Austin, right? we beat Austin, and we beat Houston.
Okay.
When the Scorpions, I want to say it was their first year or second years. It was the first year because it was at Heroes, which is a high school stadium here. They beat the Dynamo that came in, and it was awesome. And of course, Austin, San Antonio. That was probably one of the, to me, that was on par with winning as far as atmospheres, as far as the 2014 NASL championship with the Scorpions and the 2022 USL championship. It was right up there just because of the dislike between San Antonio and Austin when it came to MLS. Austin has great fans, don't get me wrong, but when it comes to SAFC versus Austin, it's kind of like how you guys feel about El Paso, how you guys feel about, well, probably even more how you guys feel about Phoenix, because I think that's the bigger, I guess to me, that's the bigger rivalry, right? At least online is Phoenix and New Mexico. Do you not like each other?
Yeah, it's 1A and 1B to me. This year, the El Paso match here at the Lab kind of felt a little flat as far as like the rivalry part is concerned. Just because there was so much turnover between the two teams.
Even with Moreno going down.
Yeah. I mean, I haven't really kept this under wraps. I've been pretty open about my dislike of Moreno, even when he was on our club, not as a person, just as a player. I think he's a gem of a person, but just on the pitch, he was never my cup of tea. And so him leaving while he was with us way longer than like Santi was, Santi had more of an impact on me anyways. And that 2019 year is just not going to be beat as far as the feelings that it gave the fans, as at least for me. I can't really speak to anybody else, but unless you have anything else on the Open Cup, I know I'm sure you don't really want to talk about your loss, so I'll save you that.
Well, for San Antonio, they got blown out the first 10 minutes, and then Indy just kind of
set back.
It was, well, both teams kind of set back. It it wasn't until the academy came in after the 60th minute that San Antonio
Pushed.
Could actually do something. It was, and we all have these matches. Don't get me wrong. We're just sitting here like, do something, please, just do something.
I mean, we've had two. Luckily, we've only had two, but those two have been a 4-0 loss and a 3-0 loss back east.
You're just like, and it like when they scored early, you're like, oh, that's it. And then they got another one here, and Indy could have had 3 or 4, but they didn't, and it was just like, okay, all right, yep. So yeah, for San Antonio, like I said here, it was what it was, and like I said, you just chalked it up, and it's one of those where, hey, we lost, nobody got hurt, we're moving on to league, which, to be honest with you, we need all the healthy bodies we can get right now. So, which was a huge plus. But I know you guys had a fun match. Greg Hurst opened things up at a minute and 40 seconds. So hopefully everybody was in their seats and not getting popcorn and drinks and moseying down.
Yeah, no, that's something that we fixed. Shortly after year one was the entrance problem and having delays. I remember year one, man, it'd be like the 15th minute and there'd still be lines outside. But
to be fair, New Mexico has their entrance getting in is well, to me, the game day environment of New Mexico is awesome. I don't know if I'll be making it this year just because of the weekend and with work and kids and stuff like that.
Oh, trust me, I know. Is the month of May as crazy for you as it is for me with your kids being a little bit older?
It is. So AJ's soccer season's coming to an end, but the kids are sophomores in high school, so their finals and stuff, and my daughter's got a whole lot more serious this year and trying to sign up for summer classes and stuff at local community college here, and doing something with John Jay, trying to get AJ onto his club team for next year. So yeah, it's like last week I was at the pitch 4 out of 5 nights while he was trying out, and then next week we get to do it again if he decides to try out for a different club. So
nice,
lots of fun
for sure. So you touched on it. We move on to the USL Championship Week 10. New Mexico United played Oakland Roots. They hosted them. It was Meow Wolf night, which
cool uniforms, by the way.
Yeah, I love them. I hate the just regular United shorts with the uniforms. It just looks funny, but it is what it is. The tops are definitely top notch. And so you get this crazy atmosphere. You get the cosmic tacos or cosmic hot dogs or whatever they were. You get costumes. You get just all this fun stuff around the pitch. And then this year in particular, last year we did pretty good on Meow Wolf Night. Was that against you guys?
No, because you guys lost to us last year.
In New Mexico?
Mm-hmm. You guys got rolled.
Okay. I think we won last year, but this year the product on the pitch kind of matches the whole atmosphere. It's very entertaining brand of soccer that Coach Eric Quill's wanting us to play. We can't keep a clean sheet because of a nasty deflection right after halftime. But as you mentioned, Greg Hurst scores in the second. And then Makwele Akale with another awesome free kick that he credits Anthony Herbert with an assist on it because he makes eye contact with Herbert, motions like he's going to cross it to him. You see Blanchette kind of hesitate and dive a little late. It gets under him.
It was a hell of a goal.
It was. Did United win this game, or did Blanchette just completely blow it for Oakland?
No, United won this.
Okay, because both of those goals clearly on Blanchette, who I think is a fantastic keeper, but a brain fart and just passes it essentially right to Hurst. Which all credit to Hurst though. He has a beautiful touch because that ball was rocketed at him, and he's able to touch it, keep it under control, and then the awareness to see Blanchette off his line, chip it over the top. 1-0 first half.
The reason why I say that is, because you could say, hey, Blanchette kind of gave up the first goal, but Oakland got a lucky. Well, a deflected goal.
It's fluky.
Right
They're
after.
fluky.
Yeah. So to me, fluky goals was 1-1, but the free kick that won it, the game-winning goal, it was class.
It
So
was. It was
and New Mexico was the better team. Let's
for sure.
Oakland stood strong. I thought it was going to be a draw just on how Oakland was playing. They were playing tough. They were playing solid. The coaching change made a difference for them. I know they played us the week before and drew in San Antonio and with a bunch of academy kids starting. So, and then this game here, they started more, like Blanchett didn't play against us.
Right.
So I think it was a eye-opening experience that the new coach put on, for the Roots. They played solid, but as you mentioned, the depth of New Mexico is what makes this team different. We've talked about it, what, last 2-3 years. The issue with New Mexico hasn't been the first team. It's once you get past that first team and the depth. This year, you guys finally have some depth, and you can rotate squad where injuries will happen, but they're not decimating the performance for United.
Yeah, and one thing that we've hit on, Quill has talked about, and even the players have talked about, like, you see Akale and Bruce come in the second half. I think Akale was a halftime sub. Bruce comes in for Hurst. This whole Daniel Bruce playing the 9 thing is just it obviously I want Denlati to get healthy and come back and see what he can do. But when Brucey's out there as the 9, he's small. Yeah, don't get me wrong, but he's a pest, man. And he just finds the right spots. The free kick that Akale scores off of is because of a foul on Bruce where he's just never ending. That motor is just going and going and going. So to bring off Marco Micheletto, who's arguably been one of our best players all year, Sergio Rivas, and Greg Hurst, and replace them with Akale, Bruce, and Nanan Hosu. Nanan Hosu has a potential goal-saving tackle towards the very end of the match. Bruce, like I said, earns the foul. Akale gets the free kick or scores the free kick. To have that depth come in, and they talk about it, the team talks about it a lot in the pressers and stuff like that. Like, it's Akale mentioned it. Was it Akale or Dayon? I think it was Akale. Like, they talk about this team as more of a family, which we've heard for New Mexico United this whole time, but I haven't seen that unity on the pitch a lot of the times.
Mm-hmm.
And so they talk about it in a sense of, like, if you're coming off the bench, if you're not getting that start, nobody's holding their head down. Nobody's hanging their head, looking down at the ground, upset that they didn't start. Obviously, they're hungry and they want to start, but they realize that they're, with this long of a season and the Open Cup and everything like that, there'll be plenty of chances for everybody to get their starts. When they're coming off the bench, they need to come off the bench and give that intensity. And you see that time and time and time again. We've had 3 home matches in the league, and all 3 of them, the subs have made a difference, except for maybe Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh was a pretty easy game from the get-go, but the El Paso match and then now this Oakland match, the subs have come in and made a huge difference because they come in and they are ready to work. They're ready to fight for the people that they replaced and the people still out on the pitch and for the 10, 11, 12,000 fans in the stadium. And one thing that I was talking with, who was I talking with? I don't remember. I was talking to somebody about it, and you would see little bits and pieces of some bad body language in past teams where I think it was with Allie, actually. I think I was talking to my wife about it. You would see bad body language when somebody wouldn't make the right pass or somebody kind of jogged back. And there's a combination of one, the team's fighting for each other, so those plays aren't necessarily happening. But when somebody does take a slightly ill-advised shot, when somebody was kind of open on a cross that could have been found and for a tap in, they don't do the whole point at their feet and throw their hands up and go, what the hell? They just walk over to him. They kind of pat him on the back, say, hey, you're fine. Let's just keep playing. Let's just keep moving on. And that's been a huge, huge thing. I mean, we look at, I talked about it last week. Last week we were 5 wins through 8 matches. It took us 15 last year to get our 5th win.
Now we're at 6 through 9 matches. The goal differential still sucks because we've been blown out twice, but and we can't keep a clean sheet to save our life.
But that's something that you guys will have to fix. So, but
right.
To me, when it comes to New Mexico, it's number one, they're winning at home.
Huge.
Where the last couple of years, like San Antonio is not winning at home. That's the issue right now. They're not losing, but they're drawn way too many times at home, and that started last year. And let's be honest, no matter the team, winning covers a lot.
It does. It does.
Just if you get that good locker room, if you've got a good vibe and you're getting results, and that's not to say, hey, you don't lose, one or two or along those lines here, because every team does. But it's just that mentality that you start building that confidence. You next man up. Hey, there's no drop off, and as we discussed, the depth of New Mexico is much different this year than it's been in previous past. So to me, like I said here, it's for New Mexico. They're a top 4 team this year, probably top 3. I think they'll be right up there with Sacramento, and then it's kind of like we'll see who between Sacramento and New Mexico, because right now Sacramento's five wins, 5 draws, 20 points. New Mexico United 6 wins, 1 draw, 2 losses, 19 points, and then there's a gap. Orange County 4-3-2 with 15, Monterey Bay at 15, San Antonio at 14, Rising at 12, and Tulsa and Memphis at 10 points.
Yeah, Tulsa, Memphis,
Colorado Springs is at 10, and Vegas is at 10. So, but to me, it's if you guys can continue to kind of build that gap, that's the key. And if you can get 3 points at home and a draw, a couple of wins here and a couple of draws on the road, you're going to set yourself up pretty well when it comes playoff seeding time.
And that's been a problem for United in the past was getting 3 points at home. So we're 3 for 3 so far in the league. We're 2 for 2 in the Open Cup. Granted, one of those wasn't at the Lab, but it was still here in Albuquerque or Rio Rancho anyways. And so you just, it feels different. I don't want to put the cart before the horse just yet, but to be sitting in second place with a match in hand over Sacramento and already have 6 wins, lead the Western Conference in wins, is an interesting feeling. It's compounded and kind of multiplied by the fact that El Paso's at the bottom, but
nobody complains about that. Hey, but they did get a win.
They did. They're still in last, but they did get a win. I'll give you that. But yeah, so we go to the match. Seth and Earl can't make it, so I needed some help for videos and whatnot. And so because it was Meow Wolf night, my wife likes to go to Meow Wolf night, so I took her, and I'm actually going to bring her on. She's gonna come sit down for a minute, and kind of give her spiel of what it was like and what it's like to experience it specifically on the pitch, and kind of go from there. But something that we talked about doing with Seth and Earl being gone before Harry decided to jump on, but just because Harry jumped on, I'm not gonna keep her from doing it.
Come on, man.
Exactly.
Happy wife, happy home. Come on, man.
Exactly. I think she's probably a little nervous, but I don't have another headphone port, so you'll just have these, and I won't be able to hear Harry. It's okay.
I'm not gonna say anything.
Oh, Harry's not gonna say anything, so you don't need it.
The floor is hers.
So I believe I've taken you onto the pitch once, right? Last year or the year before?
Yeah.
With the media pass. And so this wasn't her first job or first time out there on the pitch with me, but it's definitely a different experience being down there. So obviously, like me in year one, she's not a huge soccer fan as far as tactics and stuff though. But what stands out when you're down there on the pitch level, both the players and in the atmosphere and everything like that? Real quick. Earl's gone. Get over it. That's Robert, right? Harry? I feel like it has to be. You're muted.
That's what I was trying to do. I'm not sure if it is. Maybe.
I think it has to be because he's talking about Earl. So, okay. So what sticks out? What's the overall experience like? Not necessarily from. We'll get to the Meow Wolf portion of it here in a little bit, but just the on-field play of the players and the physicality and stuff like that.
Oh, it's definitely crazy, like being able to see the players and hear them. Like that's something that stuck out. Who was it that got hit really hard?
Muhammad, I believe, was
Yeah.
the one that went down pretty good when you
Like,
you
you can-
audibly gasped.
Yeah. Well, because you can see like when they're like tackled or when aggressive things happen, but like being there and like hearing them smack each other and just like and hearing him like shout like he knew it was coming.
Mhm.
So it was like being able to see them like I don't know how actual like physical it gets, and it's not just the ball kicking back and forth and them running. It's pretty physical as well. That was interesting. And then I know where we were. I didn't hear our team too much, but the other team, like just hearing them like warm ups and like talking to each other, stopping and looking at the board, watching the game. I know that our guys do that too, and like just like supporting each other on the side still.
We saw Blanchette throw a hissy fit after Macaulay scored that own goal.
Did he fake injuries
I didn't
too?
know what was happening there.
No, there wasn't a whole lot of faking injuries because they didn't have the lead. But
That's true.
That's the one thing that soccer kind of gets a bad rap for is flopping and acting like you're hurt when you're really not. And we see some of that occasionally, but you're saying that sometimes that's like the contact is real, right?
Yeah.
And it's definitely a little more physical than a lot of people tend to think it is, which definitely stands out. I love the communication part. I love I haven't done it this year, but I would every once in a while I'd go to that north end of the field when Tambakis was in goal back there and hang out and be able to listen to the backline communicate and stuff like that. We went to the black and yellow scrimmage during the preseason, which is also kind of pitch level. You're right there. And to hear the communication and stuff there. What about
well, speaking of that, there was the one, I don't know if they were speaking Creole or French.
Oh,
but
yeah.
hearing them when it was a corner kick.
Yeah, Talon Maples was yelling at Akale in a language that was not not English for sure. Coming up with a play there. We hear several different languages. And you see a lot of screaming, a lot of anger at times. Oakland kind of freaked out a little bit here and there. But the first half, when we're over on the supporter side section, we see her score a goal pretty quickly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and the place kind of erupts.
Yeah,
like what's the atmosphere from the fans like down there? Is it because we've been to a couple matches where we've sat in the stands, and then obviously the couple matches there on the pitch. If you kind of put yourself in the player's perspective, like what does that crowd level of volume do? Like, did you get pumped up just by being down there?
Yeah,
like I do.
Yeah, I don't think as much as you do.
Well,
but yeah.
yeah.
I don't know. I think it's got to be pretty crazy. Like whenever something like that happens, to look up and just seeing like, because being on the other side of the field, just looking around and seeing the whole like stadium just like filled like at the end. And I know when that first goal was scored, it was like pretty loud and just full of life. So I'm sure like to be a player, it's got to be crazy. Like just to look right in front of you and have just like stadium just erupt and like going crazy. So I'm pretty sure that'd be like pump you up more and just get you more excited.
And we've also been to one away match. It was in 2019. We went to Colorado Springs.
Yeah.
Completely different atmosphere, right? I mean, we had not more fans, but we had a lot of fans compared to what they had.
But that was at their old stadium, right?
It was at Weiner, but it was still when it was the portables. They hadn't opened up the official one or the big one there. But I'm not like discrediting Colorado Springs by any means. It's just New Mexico is at a different level.
It's completely different level, and especially the old Widener field. It was like because I went twice, I think.
Yeah.
And
I can't remember what you say.
Yeah. So, but
You can disrespect Colorado Springs. It's fine.
I will some. I've had a soft spot for Colorado Springs until recently, and now they've kind of are annoying. But United's kind of at a different level, and we talked when Marco Micheletto scored his first first goal when it was against El Paso. He mentioned in the presser that like the fans were one of the main reasons why he wanted to come to New Mexico, because you just don't like, we are outdrawing MLS teams in attendance in a lot of ways. And so if you ask Carlos Tenorio, aka Sombrero Man, he will gladly tell you that we are outdrawing Oakland Athletics in Major League Baseball, but I think everybody is. So
I think you could kind of tell that too at the Sandia when
the Black and Yellow Bash.
Yeah, the Black and Yellow Bash. Like when they had everyone come up and just like the new players, their reactions to everybody, that wasn't even a whole stadium.
Yeah.
But their reactions to people like getting hyped for people saying their names was just like, they were like, what is this?
Yeah, a lot of them were loving it. And so USL Inside, I believe the average attendance right now is close to 11 as far as in league play. But I don't have the total number off the top of my head. I know currently we're leading the USL in average right behind Loose City, or right in front of Loose City, I believe. We're either right in front of or right behind Loose City.
You're in front.
So we had 11,522, I want to say, there on Saturday night. You could definitely feel it. You could definitely embrace it. Meow Wolf Night is kind of a unique experience. We saw a costume contest at halftime. We saw two ladies on stilts that looked insane. What is it about that night that kind of draws your attention a little bit more than just a regular match? Obviously, there's more stuff going on, but it's just a unique experience, right? It's kind of interesting.
I think it just lets like United is about like definitely uniting people and bringing them together. So Meow Wolf Night is just lets people like, I think it gives people a way to express themselves, like, and just like feel more comfortable coming and being wild and or creative and just showing different parts of themselves. It's pretty cool.
Well said. Yeah. We have several of these theme nights. Meow Wolf is always kind of the standout one. You know, we have the kits. What did you think about the kits?
I like them. Our son said they look like monkey noodles. So now that's all that I can like see whenever I look at them is monkey noodles.
If you don't know what that is, you obviously don't have younger kids, but they're basically just a long stretchy noodle that they throw around. And so, it definitely does look like that. I'm a fan of them. I like the mint. I think they call it like intergalactic mint is the official name of the greenish color one. I do like that one a little bit better, but I'm not worried about MLS coming here. They don't want anything to do with Mexico for now.
They're going to Indianapolis.
Yeah, but that's like a multiverse, man. Thank you, David Wisicaro. I appreciate you correcting me there. I knew it was something. I knew it was alliteration too. I don't know why I couldn't think of that. But yeah, it was fun. Did you have a good time?
Yeah, for sure. And a part that we haven't talked about is the presser at the end.
Yeah,
like being able to see the couple players that they brought up and coach just talking about it. And I think something that I had like missed the last couple of years, like Jake said, I'm not like a super diehard. I'm not always in like on the Facebook page or anything. But I think something that a lot of people have missed is seeing like that United is a family. And that's something that they had definitely said is that they're a family. So kind of hearing it from their perspective and not just like the naysayers or people that get negative on Facebook or whatever. But like to them, they're a family and they get excited about coming and being in the lab and playing together and experiencing fans. And that was cool to see or hear, I guess.
Yeah. The pressers are really cool. I really like Quill and he gives really good thoughts and thoughtful answers. They're not cookie cutter answers. No offense, Troy or Zach. But they were often very politically correct in their answers, and Quill kind of just say whatever he wants to say. And so I'm happy that he's there. The players seem to really enjoy playing for him, as well as obviously for the fans and stuff. And so it's really a fun time. It's fun whether you're in the stands. We took the kids last year to a match.
Yeah.
And it's fun to watch the players come around and interact with the kids afterwards, which is something that caught me off guard my first match back in 2019. And so it's a big deal for the community. I'm glad that we've got some another couple of friends, Will and Miranda, that his wife is also into it a little bit more and enjoys going. And so it's really kind of a fun thing that gets a lot of people involved, especially like these Meow Wolf nights and stuff like that. And so thank you, love. I appreciate it.
Thanks.
You did good.
One thing to touch base on here for that.
Yes.
As somebody that's not in New Mexico, what happens at the Meow Wolf night there? Because I know it looked like it was an event. Was it season ticket members or how'd that come around?
I think you're talking about like the Friday before.
Yes.
So they did a Meow Wolf. Earl is my homeboy. That's definitely Robert. That's got to be Robert. But they do an event where they do a launch for the Meow Wolf kits, similar to kind of the Black and Yellow Bash, where they dropped these bad boys. But I can't go to those things a lot of the time, so I don't look into them as much when they're like the night before a match and stuff like that. I just have too much going on. But I believe it was open to anybody that's on the email list, if I'm not mistaken. David, if you're still around, you can kind of touch base on this more than I could. But it's just an event at the shop where you can come in, you can get your kits signed by a few number of players that are there. You get to first chance at buying the jersey, seeing the jersey, stuff like that. It's open. Yeah, see, it's open to everyone. That's what I thought. And it's a lot of those things are it's just a fun time. And so, yeah, I thought I saw it in RSVP on some email that I got, but I get a lot of emails.
Yeah, the pictures looked awesome. From what I saw on social media, it looked like a fun time. And I know New Mexico United and Meow Wolf, put a lot of effort and time into it. So that's why I wanted to ask about that, just because I know just for the driving distance for you to go to there is, unless you're making an overnight stay, most likely not the way to do it.
Allie's going to leave now.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Nice trying.
Thank you, love. So, yeah, it's just all the events that they do for New Mexico United have always been top notch. And so, yeah, it's just everything they do is pretty good. Their social media crew is top notch. The kits are always top notch. Everything else. We don't have any Earl mouth. Well, good news, Josh. We don't have a match coming up. So, well, I guess I might give a prediction for the NYCFC.
Well, are you guys going to try to have a show before then?
Harry, I called you. I texted you at like 5:30 today to see if you wanted to hop on. So we don't plan very far ahead sometimes. So,
well, to be fair, you had asked earlier.
I did. When I thought Earl,
and I was kind of undecided, and then you're like, "Hey,
Earl dropped out."
Seth gave the excuse, "Hey, I'm traveling." Blah 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 blah.
Whatever, flying on a plane or some shit.
Dude, how can you not arrange a travel schedule around the show?
I know.
Come on, Seth.
No, but next week. So, Seth, next week we should have one. The match is at 5:30. It should end by 8. So we should be able to do kind of a live, semi-live.
Maybe do a watch
reaction
along
to that. Yeah. 5:30 is tough for me, man, with the kids.
Well, Seth, should be free, right? All the globe trotting.
Yeah. Who knows? Well, Seth's bouncing now. He's got to run through the Dallas Fort Worth area airport, but
Oh yeah, Earl taking music requests.
So is Robert just here because you're here? Because he's been like MIA for a while now.
I'm not sure why Robert's here. He's usually on the Brahmas or the Gunslingers Avenue now for that here, which is Gunslingers is arena football.
Oh, okay.
And obviously the Brahmas, second place in the UFL, United Football League, the XFL.
USFL combo. Yeah.
Yeah. So Robert is the the Hollywood of our channel, where he'll paint his face and do all those fun things to get attention.
He also says random off the wall shit like Earl, which makes sense why he's
Yes, yes.
Team Earl. So it all checks out for sure. I wish he wasn't as annoying sometimes. That's all.
Earl,
I did both for sure. I did see that he has come up a little bit in the what podcast is it that did the
Pro SAFC, the
yeah.
Pick 4.
Yeah.
Still behind me, but yeah, he's not in the basement anymore. He's still below us, but and I know Sumas Moss is doing well on the podcast predictions.
We are, and that was all me. Seth and Earl did not have anything to do with that, so I will take full credit there. So you are behind me by a couple points, and so I will claim victory there, even though we're on the podcast side of the standings there. But
well, Royce is the one that did ours, and I think we're second from last. So Royce, you're fired.
Good. Well, Harry, I appreciate it. I know it's getting late over there. Again, United with a 2-1 win over Oakland, sitting in second place. We get a weekend off.
We're going to try to get together next week for the preview.
We should, yeah.
Maybe our friend Robert can hop on, and if Earl can make time, and Seth can be the little referee.
That would be fun.
Tag team action.
That'd be fun.
WWE or AEW style, depending on your flavor of choice.
For sure. Yeah, we'll see. We'll touch base on that and see what's going on. I think I'd rather have you after, so that Robert can cry live on air when we beat you guys. But
that'd be a first in a while.
Us beating you?
In New Mexico.
Hold on. Because in my head, we beat you and drew with you last year.
No, man.
Hold on. We're going to pause the show. Well, I'm not going to pause it because I don't have that kind of technology. But we're going to just kind of sit here for a second. We're going to bask in some silence. And we're going to see. Do. Okay, never mind. Yeah, we lost 3-0.
Yeah.
Sorry. I think it was. I think it was when we drew with you there at the end in Sacramento or in San Antonio when we really needed that. And so, anyways, I'm going to take back what I said. I'm going to thank you again, Harry. I'm going to ask you if you have any.
The reason why I thought we had won earlier, no, we did, because the year before. We were there. I was making a lot of friends with the New Mexico fans on the third base side, because there was a clear penalty from our view. I think from your view in 2022, it wasn't a clear penalty, which gave us our first win in New Mexico. And then last year, I think it was Rita Zahir's Galazzo.
I mean. Sure.
But we don't have those. The two people that scored are no longer on the team. So,
and neither will Hernandez be. So.
Oh yeah, to answer Seth. So Seth wanted to know what happened to Jorge Hernandez, which is our motor. Unless he wins the appeal, which I doubt it. At the 47th minute, so 2 minutes after he had a foul. I don't think anybody disputes it was a foul. Then Hernandez, got up and, said something and pulled his jersey. And the ref gave him a yellow and a red right at the same time. So double yellow for something here. Meanwhile, earlier in the match, somebody went studs up. Nothing. It was one of those things. I don't know if Jorge said something to go with the animation on the reaction. To me, was it a yellow card foul? I don't know about that, but so he'll be gone. And to be honest with you, that is going to be a huge problem for San Antonio because he is their only attacking mid type player with the creativity along those lines here. So. Well, number one, we'll have to see who's healthy for San Antonio because they've got 6 or 7 people out. Our starting goalkeeper is out. Most likely will still be out as well. So we're with a backup goalkeeper, which McIntosh is solid. So
Right.
no difference there. But yeah, it'll be interesting the attacking part of the midfield that SAFC draws.
You guys are off this weekend too, correct?
Yes, and we don't have a midweek game either. So
correct. So yeah, it's going to be a good one. I haven't thought that far ahead, to be completely honest with you. That's 2 weeks away. I have so much.
Gosh, I'm going to block you. Chris Wien still owns SAFC. I will say Chris Wien is class, although his goal was a handball, and he even signed my flag saying it was a handball.
he is, man. I miss him for sure.
But dude always scored against San Antonio. He's class, though. I think it was last year, and I didn't know it was his last year. I didn't bring the flag when he came to San Antonio. He's like, "Hey, where's the flag?"
Nice. So yeah, Harry, thank you so much. We're at the hour mark, a little over it. We touched on a lot. I want to thank everybody in the chat.
Go Nuggets.
No. Oh,
yes.
No.
Dude, I'm Colorado.
I know.
Broncos fan, Nuggets fan.
He's a Nuggets fan.
A Braves / I grew up a Braves fan because the Rockies weren't around, but I've adopted the Rockies. Avalanche back in the day, when they were going against Detroit, when the Nuggets sucked. So it's awesome to see the champs. You don't want Minnesota to win. Come on.
I've been a Minnesota fan since I was like 7.
Oh. I will say they screwed up by not winning.
You think?
Yeah, they let it.
You can ask Allie how this series has been for me. She saw me like at the peak, like the highest of highs in game 2, and then the lowest of lows 2 nights ago. And so,
it's half that I don't understand right by the half. Number one, you have the turnover by Ant.
100%. KG is my favorite player. Sorry.
Turn and score, but then to do that outlet pass at the half right there and turn it over, and the dude makes that shot maybe once a year, maybe.
That was the moment that I knew that the game was over and probably the series. I still have hope, but
it's tied up right now at 28. So.
Yeah, I know. I'm gonna go put it on the TV now and watch the rest of that. But thank you again, Harry. Thank you, everybody in the chat. Thank you, Allie, for coming on. We had several people say that they wanted you to replace me full time.
Yes.
So we'll have to negotiate a contract for that, maybe.
Maybe she can replace Earl.
Yeah, it's a possibility. But yeah, thank you, everybody. We'll be back. We'll probably be back Tuesday night after the Open Cup match. Would be my guess, because that'll end about 7:30. We'll probably hop on.
So what's your pick, though? Because you said you were going to go on record. What's your pick?
We're gonna.
I say 3-0 New Mexico.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was leaning to. I think it's 3-4 to nothing. Although we haven't been able to keep a clean sheet since Phoenix, so I wouldn't be surprised if we give one up. So maybe
I will say the longer it's 0-0, or if New York City scores first, then I think the pressure really falls on.
Well, quick tangent, like the mindset of this team seems drastically different than teams in the past. And so I haven't seen that pressure really get to them against non-quality opponents. Obviously the Tampa Bay and the Charleston match a little different, but I'm not too worried about it. I think we're going to come out, we'll take care of business. We'll make it to the quarterfinals. We'll see who we play. I believe the draw is Thursday, if I'm not mistaken. Next Thursday for the quarterfinals. It's either next Thursday. It's got to be next Thursday, because I think Tuesday and Wednesday are the matches. So we'll find out the rest of the tournament schedule. Hopefully, next Thursday we'll come back on Tuesday. We'll talk about the Open Cup match, and then we'll preview San Antonio. Hopefully, we can work something out with Harry and maybe Robert, because he said maybe I might not be so bad after all, since I like the Wolves. So go Wolves, go United. Until next Tuesday, guys, Somos Unidos, and thanks again, Harry.